got an Olympic gold medalist in my house. Yes, she can counsel a friend on the phone. She can cook. She can have laundry going, right? And four other things, including watching the kids, and all at the same time. Gold medalist.
And it's you and me, babe, whatever comes. Knowing bigger hands are holding us, and the greatest days are ahead of us. Growing in love, learning to be a better us.
Welcome to A Better Us. We're here in our home, and we're glad you've joined us.
Today we're hearing from best-selling marriage author Gary Thomas, and he's going to share two things that if you do these two things regularly, you could literally divorce-proof your marriage.
Also, you'll meet Bill and Pam Farrel, marriage experts and authors best known for their groundbreaking book, Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti.
Sounds like a topic we need to talk about in the kitchen, which is exactly what we're going to do with our kitchen couples, CFL football great Mike Pinball Clemens and his wife Diane.
And recording artist Dan McCauley and his wife Danielle.
So grab a coffee.
And maybe some spaghetti or waffles.
And let's get started.
So one of the most common experiences we have seen couples have is we get excited that we married somebody different than us, and then we get frustrated by the fact that
they're different than us.
And so we have looked for ways to help couples appreciate those differences. And I think the best word picture we've come up with is to help men and women handle the differences between them is that men are like waffles.
And women are like spaghetti.
So if you were to diagram the way a typical man processes information in life, it actually looks like the top of a waffle. There's a bunch of boxes, all those boxes are separated from one another by walls, and the way we as men operate is the first issue in life goes in the first box, second issue goes in the second box, third issue goes in the third box, and so on. And we as men, we spend time in one box at a time and one box only. So when a man is at work, he literally is at work. And when a man is out in the yard shoveling snow or doing yard work, he is out in the yard doing yard work. And when a man's watching TV,
hello,
he's watching TV. And for part of your life, this single focus that men bring, it's really valuable. Like part of our family life needs that single focus that I easily come to life with. And the workplace, the church, the community, all needs that single focus that men naturally bring to life. But it does create some tension in your most important relationships because you ladies just don't process like a waffle.
Right. Social scientists say men compartmentalize and women integrate, but nobody really talks like that. We women have more connections between the two sides of our brain hemispheres.
Actually, more physical connections between the two sides of the brain.
So if you look at the way our mind works, it looks much like one noodle laying on a plate of spaghetti. If you follow that noodle around that plate, it looks like it touches pretty much every other noodle on the plate. And that's the way we women process life, is we travel through life making emotional connections to the people and things that matter most to us. So by nature, we're really great at multitasking, or sometimes it's called toggle tasking, you know, jumping from thing to thing to thing. And we can be on the phone with our friend and her life's all falling apart. And so we're like, oh, hey, I know a great relationship show. You should watch, you know, Ron and Ann. They're so smart and so helpful. At the same time, we're writing our Christmas card list and our grocery list and our to-do list for our husband and our 6 kids. Those are telling the kids in sign language to quit fighting. Can't you see I'm on the phone? We have a load in the washer, a load in the dryer. We're cooking dinner, and we can open and shut the oven door with our foot, right, ladies?
Amazing.
It's a gift.
Amazing. Yeah.
That multitasking is a gift to the family, to the church, to the community, to your home, and to your workplace.
But you know, we get frustrated with these. Like often I talk to men who say, why does my wife go on and on and on and on? Why can't she get to the point? And she actually is getting to the point, she just gets there different than you are. Like I've noticed in our relationship and with the thousands of couples we've worked with, women are much better at connecting the dots in the rest of the family's life. Like I know that when we were raising kids, Pam would be in charge of the family calendar, and that was way better because
Spinning plates.
Because she could fit in everybody's activities. If it was up to me, everybody would be cutting things out of their schedule because it was getting too complicated. And at the same time, we know a lot of ladies get frustrated with their husbands.
Because they just want to be in one simple box. And something to keep in mind is there's one box that you should know about in a man's waffle, and that box is absolutely positively
Blank. There's no thoughts, there's no words. And we as men, we park in those blank boxes. Like, I'm sure you've seen it before. And we don't know how you do it, ladies. You must have some kind of radar, because every time we get in that blank box, you ask the dreaded question.
So what you thinking?
Which is a really hard question for us, because we tried telling you the truth. We said nothing. And your response is, well, you can't be thinking nothing. You have to be thinking something. So what is it? And ladies, I'm here to tell you, every man I've ever met has the ability to think absolutely nothing. And we didn't really realize it was a problem until we met you, because we've been doing this since we were young boys, and we thought it was a really nice place to go. So if your differences are causing frustration for you, learn the secret of accepting those differences, seeing the value in those differences, and give up changing them, and instead look to how they enhance your life.
Let delight in those differences. Genesis 1:27 said they're God-given. God made us male and female, and it's for a good reason.
Well, great to hear from Bill and Pam Farrel. That's from their classic book, Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti. And so it's fitting, food analogies here. We're in the kitchen.
We're in the kitchen.
We're with our kitchen couples,
Yes.
Mike and Diane, Dan and Danielle.
Go for some waffles.
We'll write that down for later, okay? Yeah. But I love the idea that it's a visual picture now for us girls. Men are like waffles, that they're in a box. Literally, their minds, they're thinking that way. I know that is so true in our marriage, because this guy, when he goes into a box with his thoughts, he goes deep. He goes really deep. And sometimes I feel like, do I need to throw a rope down? Do you bring it back up, honey?
Seriously,
Throw one of those spaghetti strands down.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I feel you.
Exactly. But I don't know, Mike. Is Mike that way? Because
Absolutely, and it's funny because my girls have noticed it as well, and they can walk by him sometime, and if he's reading or if he's watching a TV show or if he's in the middle of sending an email, and they'll say, "Dad, so and so and so." Dad, Dad, and then they'll look at me, Mom. I'm like, you know when he's doing one thing,
and you say,
that's it. That's
welcome to my world.
Exactly,
That's
and
it.
it's so funny. I laugh a lot now because the girls have taken notice, and I get a kick out of that because I'm like, yep. And I look at them and I'm like, girls, he's a guy. He's a guy. Yeah, he's a guy.
So in this respect, Mike, you are stereotypical of the guys, because in a previous program we talked about, usually it's the woman that's more talkative and the guy not so much.
A little bit more verbal.
But in this case,
tough.
yeah.
Yes, I am a traditional guy. I'm in that box, and I love my box. I do.
He does.
You get a lot of work done in those boxes, you know?
I wish I could be in a box.
I know.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I wish I could just focus on that one thing and just zone in. But I can never focus on one thing. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and it's like, can I just
Those spaghetti
focus
strands
just
are touching
one-
so many other things.
I'll have you know, though, I quite appreciate that you don't stay in that box, right? Because I got an Olympic gold medalist in my house. Yes, she can counsel a friend on the phone. She can cook. She can have laundry going, right? And 4 other things, including watching the kids, and all at the same time. Gold medalist
It's
in
like a
my house.
decathlon all at once.
Seriously.
But sometimes we just want to. Sometimes we just want to zone out, and the ladies want to. I'm envious of that waffle box that you
I
guys
know.
can go
I know.
into.
But Dan doesn't have a waffle box.
Oh, yes,
He's a
he
musician.
does.
Musicians are so creative.
Sorry, I
No, we have read Bill and Pam's book, and before that, I have a story.
Okay.
So this one principle alone has completely revolutionized the way that we work together from home, because we work together a lot from home. I'm usually writing on the couch with my laptop. Dan is at the dining room table with his computer in his waffle box. Now, before I read the book, if he asked me a question and I needed to answer him, I'd look up, I'd answer, I'd go back down, no big deal. Carry on. because my brain's moving in lots of different ways. Now this guy over here, if I was to interrupt him and go into that waffle box, not as easily removed.
Yes.
And maybe before that I would have thought, this guy's being a little jerky right now. Can you not just answer the question so easily like me? Now that we've read that, I have grace and patience for him, and maybe I'll wait for him to get out of that box. I'll jot a little note down to myself, and I'll wait, and things are a lot more smooth at the Macaulay house because of that. Thank you, Bill and Pam.
See all the work she goes to for you?
Yes. So nice. I actually loved something you guys posted recently or shared on Facebook that said, my wife said to me, you probably aren't even listening to me either, are you? And I thought, that's a weird way to start a conversation. I was like, I have so been there. I was in my little thing doing whatever, and then I hear a complaint, and I'm like, what? The complaint catches my attention, but I missed everything before that. Exactly. It's not a decision. We're not making a decision to ignore anyone. We're literally just focused on something.
And we, like you, we work together from home quite a bit, and so I'll find if Ron's on his laptop working and I need to know something, what I'll do is I'll say to Ron, tell me when I can ask you a question.
Exactly.
Like just kind of put the bait out there. Let me know when I can talk to you, and then
I know that she's there, she's waiting, she wants to talk about something, and she knows I'm in the middle of a thought, and then I'll say, okay, as soon as I finish this thought,
he bookmarks the thought, and then he'll come to me, and then I get it.
That's good. I need
So
to
much
use
better.
that.
Yeah.
I wish I were more responsive. I don't mind. I'm just not in.
He's just out.
I'm just out. But if she actually gets my attention, oh yeah, I'm engaged, right? But I
And
just
sometimes
yes.
when I realize that he's in that box, I just go on.
Just
And I'll come back later.
Yeah,
But I'm like,
go
okay,
do
you
your
know what?
spaghetti
Yeah,
thing. Go do
yeah,
your
it's not worth it. Yeah, it's like give him his time. He's there. So let him stay there and do what he needs to do.
I got a big box and I'm not very tall.
you get sucked down in there.
I'm with you.
Well, and I can relate to Bill because a lot of times I'm just, doing something, whatever, and Ann will ask that dreaded question, what are you thinking? And then I feel the pressure, okay, I know she isn't happy if I just say nothing. So what was the last thought I had in my mind before, and I kind of go back and rewind and try to give her something. But anyway, I've tried to also be a multitasker, and I like to think maybe it's my pride of thinking, I can multitask. Yeah.
He is a multitasker wannabe. He cannot focus on what he's doing and answer my question because it just doesn't happen. Nothing's very clear. So, so I just have learned, as we have, to just let him be in that box, and we're okay.
Well, thank you, ladies, for being so understanding of our boxes.
It's what we do.
Well, we will be back in the kitchen a little later in the program. We're going to be hearing from, in a moment, marriage author Gary Thomas. We love Gary. All right.
Stay with us.
A lot of Christian women often say, I need to be more intimate with my husband. We need to pray more. Where God's saying, you need to be intimate in other ways too. And there's a mix. It's a very...
I got me a good wife.
Hey friends, Ron and Ann here. We're so glad you're with us at A Better Us, and we pray your marriage is blessed as you take this in.
Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and enjoy this video.
What if there were two things requiring less than 2 hours a week that could almost guarantee that you and your spouse would never get a divorce? Would you be willing to do it regardless of what they were, just 2 hours a week to preserve your marriage? Back in the olden days when miners would work deep underground and they didn't have the technology they have now, they would often keep a small canary in a cage. The reason is the canary's lungs were so small that if poisonous gas started to escape from the mine, the canary would die first. They know there's pollution in the mine and they would get out of there. These two things are what I call the canary in the mine. As long as they exist, as long as they're alive, there's pure air in the marriage. The marriage is likely to be thriving. But as soon as that canary dies, either one of them, you're running into trouble. The first element of the two is prayer. It sounds so simple. I'm not talking about you have to get on your knees for half an hour. Remember, all of us can be done in 2 hours a week or less. But couples who pray together 4 out of 5 days out of the week, I'm not trying to be too idealistic here, and I'm not even talking about long prayers, but just for each other or with each other throughout the day. those couples almost never get divorced. We hear about how Christians often get divorced as often as non-Christians, but the studies, when they're looking at it further, not praying Christians. Because when you're regularly praying with your spouse, you're having to forgive your spouse, you're having to ask your spouse for forgiveness, you're having to live in the light. There's just something about praying to God together that will join a husband and wife together. It's not that difficult to do, but why do we so often avoid it? The second thing is simply sexual intimacy. When couples are regularly praying together, and when they're regularly getting intimate with each other, say 2 or 3 times a week, they almost never get divorced because, again, to keep the sexual relationship alive so that you still desire each other, you still want to serve each other, you still want to enjoy each other. You're going to have to work on other issues in your marriage. You're going to have to be forgiving each other. Anger is a huge detriment to sexual performance. And so these two things, the honesty required of prayer, the relational health that really serves sexual intimacy in the bedroom, if those two things are happening, couples will almost never get divorced. So look at it this way. If you know these two things, requiring less than 2 hours a week, can all but guarantee that your kid's household will be secure, why would we not do it? Why would we not be concerned if we can't remember the last time we prayed together, if we can't remember the last time we've been intimate together? This is who God made us to be, spiritually alive and relationally alive. And these are two key things that can help that happen.
All right, we're back in the kitchen with Mike and Diane and Dan and Danielle. Yes. And I knew I liked Gary Thomas for a reason.
I knew you were going to say
because,
that.
And maybe it's selective hearing, but I just heard have more sex there. I think
2 hours a week. Who's keeping the time clock on that?
Wait, I think.
Or is it 2 of each?
No, I think. Sorry. He said there are 2 things, not just sex. There are 2 things that you need to do.
Well, that's more like multitasking. I just one box at a time.
One box.
Anyway, but very good stuff. They talk about spiritually and physically. Those 2 things, if they're alive and well, then it's pretty much divorce-proofing.
Both of them are very intimate in your relationship. Yeah. You can share that on a deeper level with each other than you would with anybody else, you know, praying together and having sex. And so it's really, it's eye-opening to think of that in the terms of divorce-proofing your marriage. Yeah. I like that.
Right. For me, what really stuck out is that this conversation here is not about us being perfect, right? I'm really terrible, right, about praying together. And she all the time, she said, honey, we need to pray together more, right? And but I go to bed after her and I wake up before her, right? And so, but I always make time for intimacy. Right? So this for me today, my ears are perked, my ears are open, and so we pray together when something is going on. So, you know, we pray for somebody or something at the emergency kind of things. I mean, we pray ourselves, right? But praying together more is something that she's been asking about, and so I'm a student today.
Yeah, it's a good challenge.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Yeah, and on the flip side, I think all the men will like me right now. A lot of Christian women often say, I need to be more intimate with my husband. We need to pray more, where God's saying, you need to be intimate in other ways too, and there's a mix. It's a very.
I got me a good wife. That's all I'm saying.
There's something that's very spiritually intimate and very physically intimate, and we need them both working.
That's right. And God says a family that prays together stays together.
Yeah.
So it's powerful. You know, He's not just saying pray together, but He's saying it for a reason, right?
Well, the thing about praying together as well is there's that oneness that's there spiritually, but you know, when you're praying together, it's hard to be mad at the person you're praying for and with. And
if you're really sincerely praying for their best, their good, you can't really stay mad at them.
But it's hard for a lot of guys though to you know, we teach this on one of our seminars that we do, and so we taught this, and then afterward this couple came up together, and the man just said, he said, you know, I'm kind of intimidated by this prayer thing with her. And what do I say? I'm not really a prayer, and I might not
He
have the
looked
right
at us.
words.
He said, "What do you guys say when you pray?" He said, "Really, I don't know what to say." And we said, "It's just a conversation. You don't have to speak in King James, you know, and you don't have to be theologically deep, or it's just a conversation with God."
Yeah.
And having that other person to pray with is way better. There are lots of days we'll go on walks and pray together, or we'll go walk around the track at the Y and pray together. There's lots of days where I'm not feeling it so much, or she is, but the fact that the other person's there, it motivates you to do it, and then one can take the lead. There's a lot of times where we'll say, "Okay, let's pray. All right, can you start?
go.
You start." And I'm the one that's struggling today. I'm in a bad mood today, or I've got whatever, and so that having the other person, call it accountability, call it whatever. It's just help. It helps.
And there's no judgment there with your best friend. You know, if you're in a bad mood, honey, I'm not feeling it right now. Can you pray, because I'm just not there? And you know, there's no judgment.
I've done that to him before. You know, he's like, "You want to pray tonight? You want to read the Bible?" I'm like, "I'm tired. Can you read? Right?" It's like,
We lift one another up that way.
Right?
Exactly.
One's weak, the other's strong.
And there's something that really is strengthening there, because it's the two of you humbling yourself before God, realizing, okay, you know, there's things, maybe there's been conflict, maybe there's been issues you're trying to work through, and maybe that, you know, is a good reason to pray. But then you're acknowledging, God, you're the one in charge here. You know, you're number one in our marriage, and we look to you, and together, you know, we humble ourselves before you, and what a strengthening that is. And spiritually.
You know, we talked to one person who said, "My wife has a habit of pray preaching." Pray preaching. So in the prayer, "Oh Lord, please help Ron not to be such a jerk this week because of what he did." You know, not that he would ever do that, but don't be critical of your spouse in your prayer. Don't use that as an excuse to kind of get at him. God, it's you and me against him. But it's the two of you, like Ron said, two of you humbled before God. Now, we were, as Gary Thomas said, it's a good way to divorce-proof your marriage, but we have on good authority that couples who pray together have a divorce rate of 1 in 10,000.
Wow.
And you might say, well, where did you get that number? We got that from none other than Dr. Phil. Okay, I've got a quote to read to you. In his book, Relationship Rescue, in his book, he says this, an interesting statistic shared by David McLaughlin in his wonderful series entitled The Role of the Man in the Family reflects that the divorce rate in America is at a minimum 1 out of 2 marriages. But the reported divorce rate among couples that pray together is about 1 in 10,000. It's a fact. Praying together works. It's almost guaranteed way to divorce-proof your marriage. Thank you, Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
so
Dr.
true,
Phil
though.
said that. So you know what? It's very interesting.
It's working for them.
And for sure.
And then, of course, he did talk about sex as well. So, but the interesting thing, by God's design,
Brought it back around.
I brought it back around to that box. But
It always comes back around.
by God's design, it's amazing how He wired the brain, and that even that the hormones and chemicals that get released, you know, when you're intimate like that, it has a way of just drawing you together. It's you feel the bonding that's more strengthening, you know, psychologically as well. And it actually also has a way of repelling anyone else that tries to come between that bond. And so it's a powerful force, the way God has designed us. And so I can see how that is a big factor in divorce proofing. You know, prayer, God's involved, that 3-stranded cord that's not easily broken, it says in Ecclesiastes. And then the sexual intimacy, and that's pretty strong stuff right there. We need to move on.
We do need to move on. So stay with us because there's more Better Us
Got
coming
me
up.
out of that box. Hi, we hope you're enjoying the show.
You know, our vision at A Better Us is to see every marriage become a loving union that creates a safe family haven, building a legacy of hope for future generations.
That's why we feel it's so important to invest in marriage relationships through producing a new episode of A Better Us every week.
Absolutely. If you feel as we do that marriages are worth investing in, then please consider joining us as a member of A Better Us with a monthly donation of $25.
You'll be making a big difference difference in lives and families. And we'll send you 2 of our special mugs, the mugs that you see our kitchen couples using each program.
Absolutely. And be sure to send us your mugshot selfie, and we'll post it on our Facebook page and on our website.
Simply visit abetterus.tv and click donate to set up your automatic monthly giving. God bless you, and thank you so much for making this program possible and helping us strengthen marriages.
So we can all become a better us.
All right, you want some really boring news about sex? You need to schedule it. Now, I know you're rolling your eyes right now going, are you kidding me? We're not going to schedule sex. But what does the research have to say about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the things that happens is as you make a plan, you create emotional space for it. And we so often think it's only valid to have a romantic moment if it's spontaneous and organic. But the truth is, when you make a plan, you live into that moment. Your emotions start to look forward to that with anticipation. Right.
Exactly, right.
So you begin to create the organic just by scheduling.
Yeah, and so here's what we know for couples that are in the upper 10% of happiness. They schedule sex. They literally put it on the calendar. And it doesn't need to necessarily be the same night every week or every month or whatever that kind of cadence is for you. But it's a matter of both of you looking forward to that. And for some couples, by the way, it's part of the initiation. Like just to initiate sex, it always seems to fall to one person more than the other in some marriages.
Yeah.
This is a way of kind of balancing that out as well. So,
Love that.
So, okay, go ahead. Be a boring couple. Schedule sex.
Today on A Better Us, we've had a lot of fun talking about how different men and women are.
No surprise there.
And we've discovered some ways to understand those differences and work with them instead of just getting frustrated.
And who doesn't want to divorce-proof your marriage? According to Gary Thomas, you can if you make praying together and physical intimacy priorities in your relationship.
But is that easy to do? You know the answer, no.
That's right. Nothing worth doing right is easy. But can it actually work?
Absolutely. As you both make these areas of your relationship a priority, you will see results in your marriage.
And our number one priority has to be our personal relationship with God. We often say that closer to God means closer to each other. And it's so true, because as we allow Him, He changes us from the inside out and makes all the difference in a marriage.
Absolutely. If you'd like to talk with someone about that and even have prayer for your marriage, you can simply pick up the phone and call the number on the screen. That is our prayer line.
It's toll-free and it's available 24/7, weekends, holidays. There's always someone there to answer your call. And we also have some great resources available through our website, abetterus.tv, including a free weekly marriage moment email to help strengthen your marriage.
Thanks again for stopping by. And remember, with God, there is always hope to become a better us.
Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here with A Better Us on our YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage better.
You can see just a few options we think you might like here and here.
Enjoy! Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way soon.